Hydrapple is the most flavorful Gen 9 Pokemon design yet. Many of the new Pokemon designs from Gen 9 have been disappointing, overtuned, and uninspired. I have never seen the OU tier in a more unbalanced and divisive state, but there are always a few Pokemon here and there that prove Game Freak has still got it. Hydrapple absolutely nails it in every area. You can tell they put a little bit more care into this one than many of the others. Hydrapple is inspired by the iconic image of a worm eating its way through an apple. The idea of a dragon serpent-like creature bursting out of an apple is brilliant. The name Hydrapple, beautiful, simple, catchy and evocative. Grass dragon typing is a perfect fit, and all of its in-game traits feel like a natural extension of this Pokemon concept. Hydrapple has unfortunately failed to maintain an OU position in Gen 9, but honestly, that might be for the best. The OU tier is a chaotic hellscape at the moment, so I'm glad to see such a creative and likable Pokemon ending up at the UU power level. Let's take a look at the creative triumph that is Hydrapple, and how the Pokemon functions in the competitive singles environment. But first, an emergency. The famous Pokemon Probopass is currently undergoing a dilemma. Probopass is on his way to an important business meeting, but he's looking a bit disheveled. He's been on the lookout for a high-quality electric razor for as long as he can remember, but none have done the trick. Don't worry, Probopass, because Manscaped has an incredible selection of male grooming products that can get the job done. Body hair can be frustrating, but sometimes finding the right razor for the job is even more frustrating. Thanks to Manscaped, I can finally rest easy. Manscaped generously sent me their Perfect Package 5.0 Ultra Grooming Kit, and I was very impressed. Their Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Electric Trimmer is the star of the show. With its skin-safe blade heads and interchangeable foil blade, this is a delight to use. This package also comes with their Crop Soother and Crop Preserver for a fresh, cool, and comfortable experience. And that's not all. This package comes with a free gift. The handy Manscaped Shed 2.0 toiletry bag helps you keep everything in one place, whether you're at home or on the go. Join the 10 million men worldwide who take grooming and hygiene to the next level with Manscaped. Head to manscaped.com and get your hands on the Perfect Package 5.0 Ultra today. Use my promo code JIMOTHY for 20% off, free international shipping, and that free gift. That's 20% off plus free shipping and a free gift with promo code JIMOTHY at manscaped.com. Hydrapple has a grass dragon typing and quite a solid stat distribution, even by Gen 9 standards. Hydrapple has great bulk with its 106 HP and 110 defense, and a serviceable 80 base special defense. Hydrapple's highest stat is its impressive 120 base special attack. Hydrapple has an interesting selection of abilities that work quite well with its stats too. Super Sweet Syrup is an interesting ability that lowers the evasiveness of all opponents by one stage on switch-in, similar to Intimidate. This ability is not fantastic, but it could have some application in doubles where it can support an ally that uses inaccurate moves like Hydro Pump. The real standout ability for Hydrapple is Regenerator, one of the best abilities in competitive singles. Regenerator allows you to heal 1/3 of a Pokemon's max HP every single time you switch it out. This is an amazing tool, and also a fitting one on an apple-themed Pokemon. The benefit of healing a Pokemon indirectly without putting it in harm's way at all has historically been extremely powerful, and many top-tier singles Pokemon have abused this. Toxapex is the most infamous example, but even Slowbro, Amoonguss, and more recently Galarian Slowking get significant value out of this ability. Handing out an ability like Regenerator to just anyone is dangerous. You have to be very careful who you give this to, or things can get out of hand quickly. Toxapex in Gen 7 and 8 would be an example of Regenerator getting out of hand, as Toxapex seemingly had every defensive advantage and utility option it could ask for, along with the most reliable and safe healing in the game. Unlike other Regenerator users, Hydrapple does not have a free progress-making move to abuse its defensive entry points and that longevity. Hydrapple doesn't have any options like Knockoff, Scald, entry hazards, or pivoting moves. These are the things that can make Regenerator Pokemon feel frustrating, as they repeatedly enter the field, get guaranteed value, and exit as safely as possible. Hydrapple is a rare example of a more offensively oriented Regenerator user, and I like this unique approach. Hydrapple's offensive tools are very solid. It has the powerful Draco Meteor and Leaf Storm for hard-hitting stab, Giga Drain for a more consistent grass-type attack that also provides some healing, and coverage in the form of Earth Power. Body Press is a nice option on Hydrapple for fighting coverage, and a physical option that hits hard thanks to high base defense. Dragon Tail grants some utility, allowing you to force switches, and Nasty Plot is a boosting option that complements all these offensive tools very well. Hydrapple also has a pretty interesting signature move, Fickle Beam. This move does have an RNG effect, but don't be alarmed. I actually like this one. Fickle Beam is an 80 base power dragon type special attack with 100 accuracy and a pretty insane secondary effect. This move has a 30% chance to double in power when used. 30% of the time, this will become an enormous 160 base power attack. There are quite a few moves in Pokemon with 80 power and an advantageous secondary effect with a 30% proc chance. These tend to be the RNG moves that I am most okay with. Scald is the most infamous example, and the reason for that is because it's the hardest to safely switch in against. Scald applies burn, but the only type immune to burn, fire, is weak to water, making it unsafe to switch in a fire type. Other moves with similar properties like Lava Plume, Body Slam, and Discharge feel more reasonable to me because there is adequate counterplay to the secondary effects, in the form of type immunities or defensive Pokemon on your team that can afford to soak status. Fickle Beam is an interesting one because the advantageous effect is just dealing a lot more damage. The reason I'm okay with this is because it's a dragon type attack, meaning fairy types are completely immune to it. Hydrapple also lacks any coverage to hit fairy types super effectively. Steel types with enough bulk can also adequately survive the Fickle Beam damage, even including that big boost. The move also only has 8 PP, so it's not nearly as spammable as moves like Lava Plume. Those moves also leave a permanent impact by applying status, which in many ways is more advantageous long term than just dealing a lot of damage a single time. The fact that Hydrapple is so slow also makes Fickle Beam feel reasonable. If a fast offensive threat had this move, it could be a big problem. The extra damage could put switch-ins in range of coverage moves like Earth Power and allow for game-winning situations. But Hydrapple can be revenge KO'd easily and has many exploitable weaknesses, notably to Fairy, which is completely immune to Fickle Beam. What Fickle Beam does provide is some breaking power for Hydrapple and a way to punish passive gameplay from the enemy, which I think is fine. At the moment, Hydrapple has found itself ranked in the respectable A tier in Gen 9 UU. This balanced team by the player Aislinn is a good example of where Hydrapple can really shine. Hydrapple is an important piece of this team's defensive backbone, thanks to its natural bulk and regenerator. Hydrapple can help you scout enemy sets pretty safely and be a sponge for damage and status ailments. Although Hydrapple has many exploitable weaknesses in its base typing, Regenerator can help you shrug off damage taken from super effective hits, and because of your ability to survive and KO many common threats, they might not even want to. Hydrapple is also a high value Terra user. This team uses a Steel Terra type, which is very good defensively, and patches up Hydrapple's weaknesses to Ice, Poison, Dragon, and Fairy. On top of all this, Hydrapple gives the team some much needed offensive firepower. With Nasty Plot, Fickle Beam, and just hard-hitting special moves in general, Hydrapple is not only a powerful defensive piece, it can be your win condition. I always appreciate Pokemon that provide a lot of value to a team in a single slot and solve problems. Hydrapple does this in quite a unique way, making it a great new option in UU. But of course, just because a Pokemon is ranked in UU doesn't mean it can't be used in the higher tiers. A Pokemon like this with such unique advantages is a treat for creative team builders, and recently, Hydrapple has found a place for itself on a very unique defensive team that peaked number 2 on the ladder. This team, built by Super G Money, is using an ability on Hydrapple that I haven't even mentioned yet, Sticky Hold. With this ability, the Pokemon cannot have their held item removed at all. Effects like Knock Off, Trick, and Thief will not work. This is a decent ability that sometimes comes up, but I never thought any serious team would use Sticky Hold over Regenerator. Regenerator seems like the obvious choice, but as it turns out, an immunity to Knock Off is a really valuable defensive tool in this metagame. Unfortunately, 2 of the most popular Knock Off users in the metagame right now are Meowscarada and Weavile, who both have super effective ice coverage to punish Hydrapple, which is why this set is running Terra Ice to resist that incoming ice type attack so it can bait and KO these important offensive threats. Ice might seem like a weird choice for a defensive type, but it has the benefit of granting ice type Terra Blast, which allows you to threaten the ever-prevalent Gliscor super effectively. If you want to play it safer, you can probably just run Terra Water for a more solid overall defensive typing and replace Terra Blast with Dragon Tail. But this Terra Blast Ice idea is surprisingly effective and valuable. Hydrapple with full defense and body press is also a solid check to common threats including Kingambit, Hisuian Samurott, and Ogerpon Wellspring. Recover plus Giga Drain makes up for the lack of Regenerator healing. This is the most creative application of Hydrapple that I have seen so far. Overall, I think Hydrapple Hydrapple is a slam dunk. This Pokemon is well thought out in every area, from its catchy name to its visual appearance to how it functions in battle. It stands out from other Regenerator Pokemon with a much more offensive set of tools. It is potent in certain areas while not feeling overwhelming or overpowered whatsoever. Unfortunately, Pokemon like this don't quite rise to the top of OU viability anymore, with such stiff competition. But Hydrapple is unique enough to find a home on certain specific OU teams, and in the overall more enjoyable UU tier, it is a welcome new addition. But what do you think of Hydrapple? What Pokemon design is your favorite in Gen 9? And what would you like me to talk about next? Let me know down below in the comments, and thank you for watching.